Hi, this is Julie Biseglia, and you're listening to Mike Delivers with Mike Biseglia. So, Mike is actually my older brother. He loves food and he always has. And I remember one time my mom ordered dinner from a restaurant called Tenafly Pizzeria. And she ordered broccoli rabe and a bunch of other stuff. And when the food got delivered, my brother tore up the bag and he was so hungry and he opened up the broccoli rabe, carried it in one of those little tins, and it all fell to the floor. And he just kind of stared at it for 10 seconds, and we were all looking at him like he was crazy, and it makes me laugh. And he actually picked up the broccoli rabe from the floor, put it back in the tin, and ate it like nothing ever happened. He really, really wanted that broccoli rabe.
Welcome inside Mike Delivers from his wife's 2017 Toyota RAV4. Here's your host, Mike Biseglia.
That's right, this is Mike Delivers, episode number 103. And I'm your host, Mike Biseglia. And I'm coming to you from my wife's 2017 Toyota RAV4. I'm outside of the Taco Bell in Belleville, New Jersey. That's a lot of bells here. I've done 1,220 deliveries. I have a 98% satisfaction rating, and I have not and will not steal food from anybody. You can find this podcast where all major podcasts are found, including Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and of course on Apple Podcasts. Please go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. Also leave a comment. If you leave that comment, I will sing it at the end of each and every odd number episodes. So go ahead and do that. Shout out to the O'Brien Creative Group. They made my sick-ass looking amazing logo. They also have website design. If you need more information on them, head over to my show notes. You can find it there, theo'briencreativegroup.com. The Mike Delivers Patreon page, still rocking and rolling, going strong. If you're interested in some more Mike Delivers content, head on over and download the Patreon app just on your phone. Type in Patreon. Once you download the app, write in Mike Delivers. Also, you can find that online. It's bonus podcasts, interviews, food reviews, blindfold taste tests where my wife puts her pantyhose around my eyes and then stuffs food in my gullet in your mouth. She just feeds me. I have to guess the food. And of course, the story of how I crashed my wife's 2007 Toyota RAV4. All of that is on the Patreon page. It's $4 a month. If you want to just go ahead and sponsor and help out this podcast, you can do that as well. All of that money helps go back into the food that we're getting and ordering and doing for this podcast, so it's greatly appreciated, and all the support from everybody has been amazing. Thank you, guys. In this podcast, I've got some stories from the road and some stories from friends from the road and some audio that's not exactly from me. I'll get into that in a second. Episode 104 drops on Thursday as breakfast month continues. A little Chick-fil-A, Chicken Littles. I'll have more details on that at the very end of the episode. I'm getting a little nervous is the word, but in a good way. My wife and I are expecting our first child, so I'm super excited for that experience and for the journey that is about to come. I'm recording this actually late on Monday, August 24th. This will drop basically when I'm done recording it and producing it and putting it together. So we are about 10, 11 days from becoming first-time parents. I am very excited for this adventure. But it's one of those things, and I don't think, and I would assume people would agree with me here. You don't know what to expect until you do it, and I've kind of accepted that. Like, there's only so much advice you can ask for people, videos you can watch, different ways to handle being a parent, how to communicate with your spouse, making sure that you're organized, making sure that you're doing everything right with bottles, with breast milk, with, I guess that's it that you're eating. They're eating when they're young, early. That wasn't the right word to use. But my point is, you just got to kind of go with the fucking flow. I mean, I don't think there's really any other way to do that. I'm sure it's going to be moments of not sleeping. There's going to be moments of screaming, horror, and everything else in between. But I'm going to love every moment of it. But this anticipation now and waiting for it, I'm just like, I'm ready to rock. Like, at the very beginning, it was like, okay, we got a couple months to have a little more fun, even though it was during this pandemic, so it was like not exactly fun. But now, I mean, we're just at the finish line, which could be like any second, right? So if I'm not with Jess in a moment, if she's out of the house or I'm out of the house and I see, her call me and we're not together, instantly when the phone rings, like the first thing I think of is, oh my God, here it is. This is the moment. This is it. This is happening. I'm ready to go. We've got the backpack. Here it is. And then I'll just be like, can you get me some gum from the CVS? False alarm. It's like, oh, could you do that? How could you call? Obviously, you can call and communicate with people and have it not be about I'm going into labor. But there is that anticipation for it and that excitement level for when that moment comes. And I'm ready for it, man. It's going to be an interesting experience, too, because of what's happening with the pandemic. Like, my parents, Jess's parents, nobody's really, not really, not allowed in the hospital. It's a very different experience than what I'm sure most people go through when they're, going to the hospital, family comes. No, it's just me. And the other thing that's wacky and wild about it is once I go into the hospital, I cannot leave the hospital. Now, of course I can leave. I'm not like I'm allowed to leave. This is America. But if I leave, I can't go back in there. So because of the pandemic, I can't leave the hospital, which got me thinking. Because this is something I want to do on one of these episodes. I just can't guarantee it. I don't know if it's going to be possible. I don't know what to expect. I want to try to get Uber Eats delivered to us in the hospital. Maybe it's pre-birth, post-birth, but I think it would kind of be fun to do like Jess delivered and now someone Mike delivered. Not that I'm going to be doing Uber Eats deliveries, but you get my drift. I think it'd be fun to have something delivered to us while at the hospital. I think there's some good content here. Now, this is the way my brain's always thinking. I'm like, all right, we got content. We got a good scenario. We're at the hospital. People are going to be interested. This is going to be fun to watch. What the fuck's going on? But then I got to remember maybe in the moment of times, I won't be thinking about somebody delivering some lo mein for a food review, and it'll be, about obviously what's going on inside of the hospital. So I say that with a little tongue in cheek. Although I do think it would be fun post birth to do like a fun delivery review. Have the kid there. I think it would be cute. Maybe we'll figure out something that'll be exciting. But again, it's coming. So thank you to everybody with a lot of warm wishes throughout all of this. Early on in the pandemic, Jess and I both had coronavirus, COVID-19, and that was not fun. So considering where things were before, where they are now, we're at the home stretch. Things are getting a lot better here in New Jersey. I'm just excited, and I am ready for to be a parent, and it's going to be really cool to have another addition to the family. It'll be Mike, Jess, Leon, and Ryan, all here supporting the Mike Delivers podcast, which will be very cool. Now, these stories from the road, I got a couple for you, and I got some cool interactive sound that I will play as well in this podcast. Let me tease this moving forward. You're going to hear one of the cuts coming up in this episode with Frank Fleming. Do you remember Frank Fleming? He had the iconic and famous New Jersey Transit rant. I hooked up with him episodes ago, right before the pandemic hit. I talked to Frank, went into Frank's house, and interviewed him as we did our own food review, as we got food delivered to us. And I did this whole spin wheel gimmick where we spun a wheel, and there are different options on it of food places to get, and it ended up landing on Popeyes. So we ordered Popeyes, reviewed the food, talked food, hung out at his house, talked Mets, and we said after that, we're like, Frank, it'd be fun if we did some deliveries together. So finally, this past Sunday, me, Frank Fleming, and my guy Anthony Pierno, who's the co-founder with me with the Pros Club, we went in and did some deliveries with Frank Fleming. That's more of a visual thing, which I will put on the Mike Delivers YouTube page, which is launched. I've kind of kept it quiet because there's not that much content on there. I want to use this as a way to get it going. So you will see the full Frank Fleming Mike Delivers video where we're going out on the streets and delivering food. I have, though, taken one audio clip that I'll explain in a second. I just wanted to tell everybody that if they do want to listen and go back to the episode with Frank Fleming, it's episode episode 51, where I go inside of his house. That was back on February 25th. So I did want to mention that. So the stories from the road, I'm gonna take a little bit of audio from me and Frank that you'll get to hear. Another interactive piece from my guy Jose, which is an incredible story. And then also me just on the road. Don't hit animals. That's a key. Let's get to it. It's now time for stories. That's a dramatic pause. That's a dramatic pause. From the road. So as I mentioned before, my friend Frank Fleming and I did some Uber Eats deliveries together. You'll see the full video and clips from the road on the Mike Delivers YouTube page next week. I did, however, take one of those video clips and make it audio only. So a little backtrack here. Frank lives in Belleville, New Jersey. Frank and I, our first stop was at the Wendy's in Belleville. Now, I had gone to a Wendy's on a previous trip the week before, and it was hell on earth. This Wendy's, just as bad. Took forever, waiting for the food, order wasn't ready. I have to say, McDonald's does a great job with pickups. Wendy's, not good. Frank waited in the car for me. I went into the Wendy's. 10 minutes later, came back with the food, 3 drinks as well. Where were we going with this food? Again, we're in Belleville, New Jersey. Here's the audio clip of when I'm able to swipe to the right and find out where the delivery is going, and you'll hear Frank Fleming very surprised.
All right, we're back in the car. It's Wendy's. Took forever. It already has a note. Customers have reported wrong or missing items from here before. It took forever, so we're going to have to give them a long wait thumbs down. I mean, we got to do it. So let's save that. Let's start the delivery. And now it looks like we're going to Passaic, New Jersey.
Passaic?
Yeah.
He ordered from here from Passaic?
Yeah.
What, is he crazy?
I don't know.
There's got to be a million... There's probably about 5 or 6 Wendy's closer here than Passaic.
Yeah, so that's where we're going.
That makes no fucking sense.
Welcome to Uber Eats, Frank. You a little stunned by that?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. But this guy's really craving Wendy's. I don't know.
There's a Wendy's in Clemson that's closer.
A few weeks ago, you heard the story, the horror of the Uber Eats drop-off when it went to the wrong house. This was from my buddy Jose's sister, who had just recently become an Uber Eats driver. This time, this horror story goes out to Jose. Now, maybe it's not quite a horror story. This one has to do with a couple of little kids, some girls, that were feeling kind of, I don't know, jerky.
Oh my God. So let me tell you this little story from the road. So I went to pick up some food from Friendly's. It was a small order. It was just like some quesadillas and something else. And I started delivering, and I checked the note real quick. And it said on there, knock 10 times and then say hey as the note. So I'm like, what the heck? And so I drive there. It was a normal house. I walk up to the front door. And, I see the girl standing there. She looked like a teenager. She was probably about, 15, 16, something like that. And jokingly, I was like, so do you want me to knock 10 times and then say, hey? And she's like, yeah, please, if you could knock. So I'm like, okay. So right in front of her, she's right in front of the door. I start knocking on the door 10 times. Then you could hear another girl in the background going, oh my God. And I knocked 10 times and I said, hey, and I gave her the food, and she sounded like she was serious. Like, I don't know if she had some sort of issue, or maybe she had like a bet with her friend or something. I don't know what the hell it was, but whatever. I made $5 on the delivery, and hopefully she gives me a good tip.
And the tip amount? Jose reported to me $3.08. One of my greatest skills as an Uber Eats driver is the ability to drive by somebody's house and then recognize the food I dropped off to their said house. Yes, this is a real skill that I have, and I have perfected it. Yeah, my voice went up there. It's an inside joke. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. I'll drive by somebody said house in West Orange. Oh yeah, those people, they like to get Bear Burger, big fans of the onion rings. Or then I'll drive by somebody else's house. Oh yeah, been there, McDonald's, shakes, happens all the time. And it's, I'm tongue in cheek here, but it's sickening. And I've brought this up on a previous episode, but it's continued to get better. That was when I was at 300, 400, 500 deliveries. Imagine now getting into the thousands and the amount of deliveries that you have gone on. It's a sick process. But I also now think my second job could be as a real estate agent. I've helped people out and telling them where to live and not to live in Essex County, New Jersey because of my Uber Eats deliveries. That's right. Mike Delivers could be coming. Mike Delivers Homes. Be careful on the road, people. Was doing an Uber Eats delivery and a dog ran across the street, had to hit the brakes, and then the dog continued to walk without a home. So if you're going to have pets, be smart. I have a cat. I can't even imagine the little guy leaving. Please be smart with your animals because I don't want Mike Delivers to have to deal with dogs on the road. That's not part of my job. I'm dropping off food. I'm not helping out animals on the road. I don't need that kind of anxiety and stress when I'm already trying to make sure that somebody gets their burrito and it's late and my app turns off and I'm all stressed out. As you can hear, my voice continues to talk really fast. I'm just getting really anxious when I see animals alone on the road. Please, people, be responsible with your pets. There you have it, Stories from the Road, episode 103. Episode 104 coming out on Thursday. Breakfast month continues. A little Chick-fil-A action, the Chicken Littles. A lot of details on that with my wife and I. That drops out on Thursday. We don't have a month for September yet. I've got a few ideas. One of them might be wings because to celebrate football being back, maybe the best wings. That's a possibility. But go ahead and email me. MikeDeliversPod@gmail.com. Also, you can DM me at MikeDeliversPod on Twitter or Instagram. I'd love to know if you have any ideas for my wife and I and the foods that we should try moving forward in the month of September. I did promise if I do get a comment from Apple Podcasts, I will sing it. So here you go. This is from the Big Baller Podcast. Food reviews, 5 stars. Here it goes. Not sure I've ever heard food being reviewed like this, but it's funny. Alex Crossover Podcast? I'm not sure if that's Alex Benesowitz coming in with that. That is a little strange. Alex and I do a podcast called Bad Weather Fans, which you can hear on the Pros Club Podcast Network. I don't think that was from Alex, but I think it was somebody trying to troll us. That's my idea with that. I will mention, as I got you here, theprosclub.com. That is the website that I co-created with Anthony Pierno. Him and I have all of this different content on there. Real Talk Basketball with Rex Walters, Outside the Box with Mike and Leon, Bad Weather Fans with Alex and Mike Mike Delivers. There's a lot of me, but it's my network, so that's what you're going to get. So if you like me here, you might like me there. I highly recommend that. And then, of course, on the Patreon page as well. I am super excited for a couple of things. One, being a dad. That's going to be a super, super duper amount of fun. Super duper's very wordy, very kid-like. That's why I got to say that. Now I'm a dad. I'm like, that's super duper. Also, super excited for everybody to see the YouTube page that will have Frank Fleming and myself in our adventures on the road. That will kick some ass. A lot of thank yous involved here. Thank you to Jose Arellano for sharing his story from the road. Thank you to Frank Fleming coming in the car with me, the Mike Delivers podcast, Mobile, on the move, and sharing, I don't want to say his story, but his freak out about what happened at the Wendy's. Don't forget, episode 104 coming out on Thursday. Chick-fil-A, Chicken Little review. The music that you hear is from The Beautiful Noise. This podcast would not be the same without it. It is the soundtrack to the Mike Delivers podcast. We'll see you next time for episode 104.